Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Skypodcast. This is episode 3. Devin here.
Tyler here.
And it's been a while since we've made a Skypodcast, but there is a ton that we want to talk about. And right out of the gate, we have some super exciting news to share. With our brand new logo that we just created, we realized that it would be super cool to have it on a t-shirt or a hoodie. So we made merch, mainly for ourselves, but we thought, hey, a lot of you guys may be interested in supporting the channel a little bit more and getting a super cool looking hoodie, so we decided to make a merch page.
Yeah, we just love the look of this logo. We think it really fits the vibe that we were wanting to go with, and we wanted it on apparel just for ourselves, so why not make a merch store?
Exactly. So you can see we've got a Teespring page here, and we've got the blue circle logo. We've got it placed over in Aurora and over the Galaxy. Bunch of different options for shirts and hoodies and stuff, and we thought it looks pretty cool. So if you guys want to support the channel and get yourself a really cool Skypothesis antler helmet logo, hoodie or t-shirt or something, or a sticker or a poster, you can check it out. We'll put a link in the description for our merch shop.
Yeah, and honestly, just also something we want to say right at the beginning is thank you so much for watching our videos. Like, that's honestly been amazing to see the support that we've received so far.
No, absolutely. It's been amazing to see all of you guys come together and keep the magic of Skyrim alive. So thank you guys so much. We're getting really close to 10K subscribers, and that's super exciting. So thank you guys. But awesome. So just to kind of jump into things, for the purpose of this video, we want to talk about 3 things. Number 1, we want to talk for a bit about our thoughts on the Anniversary Edition as a whole, like how we like it and good things and bad things. We also want to share with you our immediate and future plans for the channel, and most importantly, go back to our Season 1 and 2 builds and discuss how we would remaster them for the Anniversary Edition. So there are timestamps in the video, so if you're just here for the builds, you can go ahead and skip the business. So without further ado, let's start out by talking about our experience so far with the Anniversary Edition.
Yeah, it's been out for over a month, like a month and a half now, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. We were never really on the Creation Club train earlier, because we never really considered them like much more than mods that you can buy, but they are canon now, and many players already considered them canon before this new edition, but we were not really among those who saw it that way. They were mods to us, and we've always kind of just preferred the game in its vanilla state, so we've stayed away from it. But we have changed our tune now, and we really do enjoy it. We consider the Creation Club content vanilla now, if you have the Anniversary Edition. However, when we say vanilla builds, we typically mean builds that can be played on the Switch or just no Creation Club, or just the Special Edition.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit in the future as well. But we just kind of wanted to dive into the things that we like versus things that we don't like about the Anniversary Edition. So starting out with the likes, we love the new gear, weapons, armor, spells, and pets. Yeah. It adds so much cool new stuff. Like, I love it.
Yeah, tons of new options for character creation, and that's most important to us, so we love it.
For sure. And while some of these improvements are just aesthetic, others open up like an entire build, like types that weren't possible to replicate in the vanilla game, like our new build, the Bone Shepherd. That would not have been possible in the vanilla game without some heavy alterations. A couple other great things that we love about the Anniversary Edition are large quest mods that open up new roleplay paths for characters and new places to explore. More Skyrim is always a good thing. And fishing, so fun. It provides a relaxing pastime and increases immersion for certain kinds of characters.
We love the part of the Anniversary Edition that just adds more stuff, whether that's more areas, more stuff to do, or more gear for building characters. So as far as things that we kind of dislike, most of the player homes just don't quite fit our personal tastes for the game. Most of them are either a bit too big or over-decorated for most characters, or they are acquired in a non-immersive way. Though they may fit very specific character types and there'll be great options for them, for the most part, like how you obtain them kind of clashes with how you obtain the vanilla homes in Skyrim, so we're not a big fan of how you obtain most of the new player homes. But there are still some great options there for certain characters.
For sure. And also, this is getting kind of nitpicky, but we're not a huge fan of quests that start by courier delivery. We totally realize that it's difficult to script in different ways to start quests, but we personally believe it's better to read a note in an inn if you want to start the quest, because these courier notes can't be removed from your inventory until the quest is completed. This is a minor thing, but it does kind of rustle some jimmies.
Yeah, and finally, for dislikes, last thing, we do have to acknowledge the bugs. Anniversary Edition came with a host of bugs, and we're not really sure which ones are going to get patched out. The worst for me are the kill cams and the broken ragdolling. I mean, hopefully modders smarter than us will figure out how to fix it, but until then, I do still think the pros outweigh the cons. Depending on the sorts of things that are important to you, it might still be worth waiting until more fixes are available before upgrading. But for us, the pros do outweigh the cons. There's just a lot of great stuff. Oh, one more quick thing to talk about, and that's survival mode. We do like it, but we don't have a lot of time and experience with it, so we haven't really mentioned it in our builds so far. We feel like that's the sort of thing that if you want to do a playthrough survival mode, you can do any build survival mode. Some are going to be harder than others, but to us, that's just kind of a choice that the player makes if they want to play the game that way. We do want to make at least one build that's kind of made for survival mode specifically, but for the most part, the survival mode is just going to be a thing that we would just leave up to you as far as choosing to do it or not. And I like it, but coming from someone who's put a lot of time into Fallout 4 survival mode, this one is really tame by comparison, and it's implemented kind of strange. Raw food grants 10 nutrition points, but you put it in a soup and it grants 300. It's kind of bizarre. I like the idea of survival mode, but it is done in a weird way, and I just haven't gotten used to it yet. But maybe we'll do more with it in the future. But for now, just personal experience, we probably won't touch on it too much in our builds.
Yeah, for sure. Not the biggest fans, but that's just kind of personal preference. We may enjoy it in the future. Those are just kind of the likes and dislikes of the Anniversary Edition. And now we want to move into our immediate plans for the channel. So for the near future, we have a bunch of Anniversary Edition builds that we are working on, and we're so excited for you guys to see them. And we will keep posting them whenever we are finished, instead of following our old season format with releases every Friday. And this is just because we don't want, if we have a video that we want to share, we don't want to make you guys wait until Friday, and also it just kind of gives us a good, motivation to just kind of get a build out and then post it immediately, so we're not sitting on anything. And again, we might need to take some breaks here and there due to school and work, but we definitely won't be away as long as we were this past summer. Another thing about the channel is our Discord is super active. And would say it's a huge success. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and being a part of our Discord community. If you haven't yet, there's a link in the description, so go check that out. And another fun, exciting announcement about the channel is we are getting into Twitch streaming. So I've been streaming Super Smash Bros. Melee already. I don't know if any of you guys play it. It's my favorite competitive game of all time. I've been streaming it on Twitch. I'll put a link in the description. But we're probably going to stream other games, or even Skyrim. We may do how we make our builds and stuff like that. So stay tuned. We'll post about it on Discord if and when that happens. So just keeping that out there as an option. Then the final plan for the channel that I want to talk about right now is Season 5 of Pure Vanilla Builds is still totally on the table, but we're definitely not sure about the timing. I had 2 of the build videos almost completed, but then with the Anniversary Edition update, it totally broke those old saves, and I can't get back into them, so I'm gonna have to start from scratch if I want to finish those videos. So Season 5 may happen, we're just not sure exactly when.
Yeah, and we do want to have one more season of Pure Vanilla builds, so 6 builds with no Creation Club. But we were thinking all of these builds could be improved in some way by what's included in the Anniversary Edition content. So we weren't quite sure how to handle that. It might make the most sense for us to just go ahead and make them as vanilla builds and then include a section in the video to discuss possible Anniversary Edition improvements for players that have the Anniversary Edition. but we haven't 100% decided yet how we're going to do it. So for now, we still have a lot of Anniversary Edition builds that'll keep us busy in the meantime.
For sure. So that's the near future. And now for the distant future, Bethesda's E3 showcase on Starfield will probably be huge news. We're so excited for that this next summer. And at that point, everybody is going to start getting super hyped up for Starfield, us included, and we are absolutely going to make builds for that game when it's released. We are huge sci-fi fans, and we're itching for a really good sci-fi RPG. There hasn't been one in so long, or forever even, I don't know.
At least not to this, at least not in this genre.
No, absolutely. But until then, we might branch out into some other games. There aren't as many sandbox RPGs like Skyrim that kind of lend themselves to the build format that we love doing, but games like Kingdom Come Deliverance and even the new Borderlands game, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, is going to allow for character building, and depending on how that game goes, we may release a couple builds for that as well.
Yeah, and we do want to make some Fallout content as well before Starfield comes out. The real reason why we haven't yet is just because we've just had a lot of Skyrim stuff that we've wanted to do first. So we will get to Fallout builds for sure before Starfield comes out, but until then we've still got a lot of Skyrim stuff we want to do.
Yeah, for sure. It hasn't been as big of a priority for us, but we do have several characters that we've written that would love to make a video for at some point.
Yeah, so our first Fallout 4 build has been posted on the Skyforge forums for a while, but you do need to be a member, I think, to access the build pages. One other thing to mention, I don't necessarily think the Fallout and Elder Scrolls players and communities overlap quite as much as I assumed initially. Like the popular YouTubers like Fudge Muppet, they make content for both. But at least it's been my impression that the core communities that are still playing these games years later are often either kind of one or the other. So with that in mind, we wanted to specialize while we grow our channel and build up a community of like-minded fans. Because we do love both franchises, but Skyrim was something that we just felt like we had more to share. So
for sure.
Long way of saying, we'll get to Fallout later. We got more Skyrim stuff.
For sure. Yeah. But we love them both. But anyways, yeah, we now that we've talked about kind of business for the channel, we want to move on and start on kind of remastered builds, things that we would do with the Anniversary Edition to change our builds from Season 1 and Season 2. So instead of making remastered build videos, at least for now, we're going to go through them and talk about the things that we would change or add now that the Anniversary Edition's out. Starting with our good friend, the Ghost of Mora.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who submitted a comment on our Discord. We asked what you would all update or change about our past builds, and there were a lot of great ideas there. So we're going to go through some of our favorites and some of the ideas that we had for our first 2 seasons today, and then in a future video we'll go through seasons 3 and 4. So, the Ghost of Mora, our first build, one of our all-time favorites, and oddly enough has I think, the best opportunities to improve the build with the new content. There is a new spell, Pride of Hearstang, which allows you to conjure a bear, and it's not just a new bear companion, you also get a passive buff. You get regeneration to your health and an extra 50% frost resistance while he's out. So it makes Nords immune to cold damage pretty much. So when you have 1 Frost Atronach and 1 Bear out, you're a lot more versatile and you have that passive buff. And that health regeneration effect, we would work that into one of his special moves, the Huntsman's Repose, which has 2 sources of health regeneration with the Potion Huntsman's Draught and also the Become Ethereal effect when you meditate with Parthenax. So when you have the Bear out, then you have 3 sources of health regen, and Huntsman's Repose suddenly becomes even better. So it would also allow him to kind of lean into his druid side of his character a lot more. So he's not just conjuring Ice Atronachs, which we imagine as like a sort of ancient skull-like magic. Those no longer have to be his only minions. He can also have bears, and yeah, he has more options now.
For sure. Another huge one for him is fishing. He would fish so much. He would be a huge fisherman.
Yeah, he's someone when we play as him, we just like to wander and take the game at a slow pace He's also a great candidate for survival mode, just as he is. His skull coat has great warmth rating, so you can just play him on survival mode and take it slow, and there are tons of new activities for him to do, and it's a very rewarding playthrough to play him with the new Anniversary Edition. Also, that was our first video that we made, and I don't think we made it quite clear enough in the video that you should still level up your smithing to improve your bow, even though we're not taking perks from smithing. So it was our first video, and we didn't quite have the format perfect that we would later get. We would right afterwards get to a format that we liked and that we'd stick with. But we would want to list out on screen the components of his special moves and potions and things like that.
For sure. And there are also a couple things that we would have clarified for the roleplay. When you talk to the Skull, the only dialogue options that you have indicate that you don't know about the Skull traditions. And this would make sense if you have in mind that we invented his tribe entirely. As far as we know, there is nobody from Atmora in the Fourth Era, but we headcanoned a splinter group of the Skull that spent 200 years with very little contact with the outside world. So we would have made that distinction clearer as well. He is similar, but his tribe animated ice instead of crafting with enchanted ice. So we imagine similarities and differences, and he wants to learn everything that the Solstheim Skull know.
Yeah, and also, by the way, we'd love to read your comments. Leave a comment in the video if you think of anything that you would want to add from the Anniversary Edition to these old builds. We love reading your ideas. The next one is the Sunfire Herald, another personal favorite of ours. And the first one that we thought of was the Arm of the Sun, which is a new unique staff. It looks like a sun goddess scepter. It's awesome. It's a bit more versatile than a Staff of Fireball. It does 20 points of fire and then 20 points of shock damage. So it does the same amount of damage, it's just a bit more versatile. It combines the two elements.
Yeah, and there are also a couple different armor options that we could have. With the alternative armor pack, you could want the one that has more cloth in the look, and Dwarven Mail if you want to focus on light armor. In spite of these, we still prefer the look of the vanilla armor that we chose, but these are just more options. And this is something in the video that we wanted to clarify a little bit more, but the Sunfire Herald was fun in that we tried to build up a guild of sorts using only the vanilla game. It's been pointed out to us that the guild members do remove their armor if you've been away for a while, and this one was built on PC, and the guild aspect of the idea was very last minute. We definitely could have tested that more thoroughly and changed that part of the video, but the principle is still there, of having a full guild and maximizing the members of your Ashaba team. It still works, just most of them won't be wearing the armor combo.
Yeah, like your followers still will if the armor rating is higher than what their base armor is, but like your other members of the household, they'll take it off, unfortunately, if you're away for a few days. So but yeah, we still like the idea. We wouldn't change that part of the build. We might have just mentioned in the video that, hey, it'll take off the armor if you're away for a while.
Yeah. Then next up is the Volkihar Knight, and the Bloodskull blade still looks best for him, but the sword Umbra is also definitely worth considering. It's also two-handed, has a sinister vibe, and absorbs health and magicka. In addition to that, Blood Chill Manor, one of the new player homes, would be absolutely perfect for him.
Yeah, that would really fit his vibe very well. Other than that, not too much we would change. And then up next, the Fell Alchemist. This one was the most obvious of all of them.
Sure.
There is a pet spider, and he would absolutely have the pet spider. I think her name's Arachnia.
Yep,
right?
and she like sends out little web traps and stuff that like enemies can get caught in. Perfect for him. Yeah, absolutely perfect.
You can also harvest venom from her. So perfect, absolutely perfect.
Oh man, like I wish we would have had that when we made the build video, but yeah, that one's perfect for him. Then next up is the Relic Hunter, and there are so many new things to hunt down. New relics and other enchanted items and magical artifacts to hoard, quests to complete. She really is a great collector build.
Yeah, she's all about hunting down treasure and interesting things, artifacts. And there are just so many of them. Like all the new stuff has like a small quest tied to it. So yeah, she would want to collect all of them just for her own collection.
For sure, and her aesthetic is a personal choice, so would probably leave her as she looks right now, but definitely she would have a ton of new stuff to do.
Yeah, and then up next, Desert Wind Exile. This is one that we were kind of stumped by. We honestly didn't really think of anything that we would want to change. We really like the look of his aesthetic. None of the new Fearsome Fists would improve him or match his aesthetic. And also, they don't... they just function just like enchanted gloves, so it doesn't really matter. Especially if you're going to make your own gloves, it doesn't really matter. So I would honestly just leave him how he is. I don't think I'd change anything.
Yeah,
to
same.
it.
And then also that kind of goes for, we're digging into season 2 now. That goes for the Oblivion Sentinel as well. We really wouldn't change her at all. I think as she stands right now, it's pretty great, even with the new content. The new quests, though, the cause specifically that sends you into the Realm of Mehrunes Dagon, sends you into Oblivion, that would totally be right up her alley. So that would add a fun new little spark to the roleplay.
Yeah, next one is the Rebel. He has a new home option with Hendrheim. It's very Nordic, an awesome classic mead hall. That would be very fitting for the Rebel. There are some new aesthetic options for him, such as the new Stormbear armor, but we probably wouldn't use it because we do like how he looks right now. He has a lot of spikes all over the place, and we like how he looks, but there are new aesthetic options as well.
Yep. And then for the Stylight Storm, she's another one that we probably wouldn't change too much. But one thing that we did want to talk about with her, as she uses alchemy quite heavily, is with the addition of the Rare Curios option, we found that the Rare Curios aren't really our favorite. Not because they're not awesome, they add some really great things, but you can't plant them. So we found ourselves not using them very often because they're expensive, you have to buy them, and you can't really plant them anywhere.
And there's no guarantee that the Khajiit will have what you want in stock. And so as far as making specific potions for a build and then building the character around that, we didn't really want to incorporate Rare Curios too much, just because you can't plant them, so
yeah.
you can't get a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. And then moving on to the Reaver, we really liked that he uses a matching set. That's pretty rare for us, so we'd keep him how he is. But the Ghosts of the Tribunal questline is an awesome opportunity to explore his Dummer heritage.
Yeah, he's kind of a unique character for us. We're all about the outfits and the aesthetic, but for him, for some reason, we just liked keeping a full set of armor, so we would leave him how he is. Up next is the Art Thief, and we could totally see him chasing down the rumors of the pirates in the pirate content pack. There is a ton of new pirate clothing options that would look really cool on him. They look really great on Imperials. And also Discord, someone pointed out on Discord that the Saturalia outfit looks really cool on him. It has the same red aesthetic, and yeah, it's just a whole bunch of new aesthetic options for the Art Thief since he just wears clothing.
For sure. And then another thing, he would definitely hunt down the Grey Cowl and use that in his thieving adventures.
For sure, where he's a thief from Cyrodiil, so of course, absolutely. Yep.
And then last up, and this is where we'll end this Sky podcast off at, is the Daedric War Chief. And he has a lot of new options from the Anniversary Edition. The awesome new alternative Daedric armor just looks so much better on him. It looks fantastic. Yeah. Much less edgelordy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cloth to the new Daedric armor, and it kind of blends in the mage robe look with armor, and we like the new Daedric armor better on him.
For sure. And depending on how you like to play him, you could use some new summons, such as some of the ones from Saints and Seducers. That pack, there are a lot of cool new summons of Daedra, and then also the Daedric horse from the Cause. We think it looks a little wild, but it could fit him.
It's a little bit too much for us.
Yeah.
But it is still cool, and it would fit him for sure.
For sure. And then there are lots of new two-handed weapons like Umbra, the Headsman's Cleaver, and Shadowrend. Yeah. That he could definitely use instead of just a base Daedric sword.
Yeah, for sure. So he's got a lot of great options as well to really improve him. So yeah, of all of this, I think the two that I want to revisit and do a new playthrough with the Anniversary Edition stuff is the Ghost of Itmora and the Daedric Warchief. I think those two come out as the ones that improve the most from the new stuff. And of course the Fell Alchemist with the spider.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
So we just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit because on Discord and in the YouTube comments, you guys have been mentioning how we would go back and remaster our builds. So we just wanted to talk about that a little bit in this podcast. But
we'll do the rest of our builds later. This video is getting long already,
yeah,
so
for sure.
We'll do those later.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in to Skypodcast episode 3. It's been a blast, and thank you so much for being a part of this community.
Yeah, thank you so much for supporting us. Just watching our videos is a huge support, and it's so much fun to find this community of like-minded people that still love this game 10 years later. So we're looking forward to a whole new year of tons of new content, new games, and a lot more Skyrim stuff coming.
Woo, we're so excited. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time, right here on Skypodcast.